shadow. Did I just put that in there? Gosh. One little flick, huh? And there goes the neighborhood. All right, a little red in here. Maybe a little red out there.
Has anyone seen the Netflix show on, it's about these makeup artists? It's called Glow or Glow Up.
I don't have Netflix.
Okay, well, it is so terrific.
Yeah?
Because they are artists and what they can do is phenomenal. I love this show. I love it. They do all kinds of different things. Like they paint people's faces so they look like animal faces, or they do without putting prosthesis on. They just do all these incredible things, and it's just amazing to see the art form.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you're saying, one flick, boom.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everything's changed.
Yep. It's true. It's just like playing like how do you play the edge of your brush on there, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, now remember the eyes are round, okay? So on the right sides of the eyes, the eye will go into shadow. The white of the eye, see? So I need some shadow in there. This white of the eye is much lighter. This white of the eye is a little bit darker. We get a highlight inside the tear duct. But now this one over here catches light again, and then we go into shadow again over here. See, that does make them round. It feels like they're in her head instead of sitting up above. And I'll give you the trick of the day. Let me zoom in here on this one. Let me zoom. Okay. Tip of the day is that the eyelashes will always create a shadow over the top of the eye. I can't show you this stuff until we really get into it. So you'll get a little bit. Now in this case, the light's coming from the side, so you don't get a big cast shadow on it, but you need a little bit of shadow under her eyelashes like that. A little bit of shadow in there because the skin of the eye is thick, and then you got eyelashes up there, and it'll create a little bit of a shadow over the eye, and that shadow over the eye makes the eye feel like it's in the head. Otherwise, it feels flat on the face, and you might be wondering why. How do I get that 3D? How do I get that? It's really the way you play on the lights and shadows. Now, as we get into here deeper, we get into her tear duct. You get quite a bit of dark in there, and it gets quite red. I wouldn't say red, but I've seen some expressionists put that in pure red. See, a little bit of, and that's what makes it feel round too. It goes, see? And if you can make that noise, you will know how to paint watercolor. It's important. Okay, we got a little dark one over there. I don't know why I make those noises. They just seem to make the point. Okay, we have a little bit of mascara, you know, right around here. She got very little on the bottom here. So, see, I have a little highlight on the bottom lid. Little bit of highlight there, not too much. Just need something. Let me get a little bit of shadow over here. Yeah, and it rolls around there. And then I'll use my brush here and soften out those edges. There we go. And she gets quite dark in here. This area. We get quite a little dark in here. See the darks? I'm putting the darks in the corners. The corners down here, corners of her eye, where her eye goes back into the head. You'll get it dark in there. Get it dark in here. Always in the corners. See, look at the corners of the mouth too, see? Corners. Big deal. Because you don't get much light back there. Corner in there. A little bit of a little dark in there. Her nostril creates quite a bit of a dark shadow over there. Probably could have used a better color. And I'll fade that out with a brush because I don't want any hard edges. Sometimes the lines can get a little dark. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. Sometimes when I'm sketching, I don't mind the dark lines. I'll just let them go like crazy. But sometimes when I'm doing like a portrait, I'll really lighten up those lines.
Are you familiar with Peter Spear?
Sphere? Like a sphere?
S-P-E-I-R. He did children's books, like The Cow That Fell in a Canal.
Oh.
It reminds me, what you're doing there with the heavy pencil marks and the watercolor reminds me.
Oh, neat. The Cow in the Canal? Huh.
The cow who fell in the canal.
Oh. Did he make a noise like this? Oh. I entertain myself. My daughter is probably laughing over there. She's in the other room.
We're all smiling.
There's Dad. There's Dad making those cow noises again in his class. I mean, she's trying to be like a group fitness trainer. Unfortunately, this is not a great time for that. So it's tough to find work. She's out there, she's pounding the pavement. I'm telling you, the girl's gonna find some work. But what was I trying to say?
How old is she?
Yeah, they're telling you gotta make the noises, honey. Yeah, let me tell you, it's all about the noises. No. She's 19 as of a couple of days ago.
Wow.
Yep. Just a weird time. I mean, my gosh. Who would have thought last year that you couldn't be group fitness instructor.
Rob, what did you use for what looked like black eyeliner on her eyes?
Yeah, I use Prussian blue and cad red. Mix those two together, you get a pretty good black.
All right.
Yeah. Right now, I'm just going to coming back and hitting some things that are a little bit darker. Dry brushing them in. Dry brushing works great on hair. Just look, trying to get my darks. Got to get those darks. Let's see what we got here. Oh, whoops. Zoom it out. Now I made it's so much darker around the eyes, and her skin is so pale now. Some artists would leave it like that because it's it really brings your attention to the eye, so it'd be more of an artistic, stylistic statement. But an academic painter would paint it exactly by the rules, and maybe lighten up some of these lines. Let's see. And also maybe darken up some of my shadows on her face. And maybe these shadows could go. And I wait for them to be dry first. So I feel it always with the back of my hand. Because the front of your fingers has sweat and oils in it. So now, it looks like your shadows need to go a little darker. All right, red, yellow, blue. You guys ready for a crit pretty soon? We can keep working on this. Okay.
Rob, how many crits we submit? How many paintings we can submit?
Just the two you did today. Yeah.
Two. Okay, two. I was wondering one or two.
I'll critique them both, and you know what? We may go a little over. I'm sorry. I mean.
Yeah, my question is.
I don't mind going over though.
My question is one or two. Two is fine.
Two.
Okay.
Yeah, two. I come in with this shadow again on her face. So now that reflected light's really bright. I'm just going to take all this into shadow. And just barely go over that reflected light. So it's not this bright. And then we can keep, I have very light tones on her face, so we can keep getting darker with those. Although she's very pale, gosh. I just glazed her ear a little bit warmer. And you could keep all that form in there if you like, or you could just lose it. In other words, I could come in here and hit a dark in her ear right in here and up in there and really get defined with it, or keep it really loose and sketchy. definition in there. Oops. Just thin that out. And typically people look a little bit better if you put a little blood in their cheeks like that. Maybe a little bit of yellow in there. I know this is a little extreme. You'll see people like looking like this in these Baroque paintings. Wow, they made some very, very. But they were merry, weren't they? They had those red noses and red cheeks. I'm just taking it off now. See how that adds a little life to her? Went over my little highlight. Darn it. I wasn't supposed to do that. There we go. Yeah, just a little bit of warmth in there. Oftentimes too, just as something's turning into shadow, you'll get a little bit of saturation in the skin tone. See, it's a little bit more like pinks and oranges, typically. Red in here, maybe. Might see a little more color in her flesh. I got really yellow. Now sometimes it will cool down in the halftone. Like I noticed down here, but if you get it too blue around a woman, it'll look like a 5 o'clock shadow. So be careful of that, especially in the mustache area, like right in here. Be careful. And sometimes it is like that, you know. So I tend to. I've got scolded on that a few times, so saying, "Hey, man, I just paint what I see." What? Yeah, keep them just a little bit. She's got a little bit of hollow in her cheek right there, a little bit around the outside. And yeah, for some of these really big highlights, I might just soften some of the edges. Like right around here. So that they don't have such hard edges around the outside. Yeah, I did make her awfully light down here in the chin area. And I made her neck really light. Sometimes your neck will get a bit of tan on it. The forehead too, by the way, because they're out in the sun. Especially right up here in the forehead. It's a good place to hit a little saturation. their eyebrows in. There's not much there, but probably looks better with them. And really come back once in a while and really, it's a watercolor, so the darks will tend to get too light on you. So at the end of the painting is typically when I hit my darks. Blues, magentas, even green, why not? Maybe a little Prussian blue once in a while. So much fun. I all of a sudden like this Prussian blue. I hope I don't get too carried away with it, but I like it. The blue eyes too, you can see like a ring around the outside of them. That's pretty dark. Which makes the eyes look brighter, see? So mine's a little on the dark side. Yeah. Make the eyes look a little brighter. I might even actually let that dry up a little bit and hit a little bit more like Prussian blue in her eyes. And wow, what I'm looking at here and what I'm seeing up there in my monitor is, well, it's so much lighter. Let me see something here. I think I can deal with this. Let's see. No. A little more contour. Whoa. That was blur. High contrast. See, it's good to look at your work in these different ways. At saturation. Do I like my saturation? Do I like it less saturated, That's a little too white. That's a little too dark. somewhere in there. Pretty close. Better. And as you can see, I got a lot of pencil lines on there still. I could get in there and paint those out. Sometimes what I'll do is just come back and erase them out. With a gum eraser, it should pick it up. I picked up a little bit. But I think it looks okay the way it is. Anyway, the way I'll do that is by putting a line on there. Any sort of line in the face, I'll put in a line like this, let's say, and then I'll take that fader brush, I'm gonna call it that, just a little bit of water, and fade out the edges. And then it stops being a line and starts being a tone. So I might put in, let's see. We gotta get to the crit. Now I know none of you will be finished. I mean, I'm not finished either. I mean, 2 portraits in a day, you're really not going to be finished. But the idea here is to take these lessons, the little pointers and how to lay it in and all that, and then, you know, work on a longer one or commission or whatever for yourself.
Rob,
Yeah.
Rob, this is Alice. I have to leave at 4:30. I have another Zoom.
4:30?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if it'll go on that long. We'll see. But why don't you want me to do yours first?
I sent you mine already, so.
Okay, yeah. You probably sent it already, so I'll just take them in order.
Yeah, and I have to go at 4 o'clock. So.
Okay. Well, we'll get a lot done by then. Do you want to get started on them now?
Sure.
Sure.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
Rob,
We got a lot of crits to do. Yeah.
could you please send me the picture of the woman? I'm not sure I found her. I found this person. This isn't her though, is it?
Huh? Well, can I see you? Where are you?
I'm holding it
No.
up. That's not her, is it?
No. No.
Okay, and then I found this person, and I don't think it's her either.
Oh no.
It was an August 20th email, all the way back to August 20th.
I can just send it to you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's forward this. What happened? Forward. What happened? Forward this. What is going on? Okay. Weird. Okay. Oh. All right, that should be there.
thanks.
Yeah, we already got a lot of people mailing stuff in. Wow, great. Thank you. Okay. The cow who fell in the canal. Are these your photos, Claire? Let's see. Oh, okay, cool.
No, it's just information. I'm just about to send mine too.
All right, cool. All right, so Louise, you're first.
Wow, okay.
And who else? Oh, Alice.
I sent some in Jane.
Okay. Okay. I'll get started, Louise.
Thank you. And by the way, I learn a lot with you, Rob, and so on, but I love the critique because I also learned so much from looking at everyone else's. It's wonderful to have the critique, so I'm very grateful for that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. Let's see, draw. Okay, can you see the picture?
Yes.
Yes.
And let me get my drawing thing here. Okay. All right. Now, it just looks like you haven't got to the darks yet, so many of them.
Right, exactly. It's not finished.
So that's normal. I mean, we'll tend to get some dark in the eyes. Let's see. Like I always say, the corners of the eyes. Let me draw that again. The corners make a big difference. Anywhere you're not going to get a lot of light. So think about areas that you're not going to get a lot of light. Those will tend to be the areas where you'll get some good looking darks. Now this is looking really nice. The other thing is I would put in some, let's see, some shadow. Most of this will be in shadow.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right.
So that'll help.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just group all this into one big. Now you may find, because if the value of it tends to go in the same value as the background, maybe you change the background value a little bit. I don't know. Whereas this one really pops. See this light and shadow here.
Uh-huh.
Light here against the dark. You could go darker with the background. You could go lighter with it. Who cares? If it looks good, then leave it. That's what matters. Some people just leave it the same.
Yeah.
But sometimes usually you want a little contrast in there. I think your shadows could be a little darker.
Okay.
I know we'll just group all this. See, I just grouped all that into one big shade.
Right.
You notice I'm not commenting on your drawing that much because your drawing's actually pretty darn good.
Yeah. Yeah, I did it yesterday. I took my time.
Yeah, okay. It's good. So usually the top lip will be in shadow, the bottom lip will be in light. So I don't know if I have a really good color for this, but now you will get part of his got pretty big lips, so they'll catch a little light on the top. But generally speaking, that's the way it goes. Also remember the eyes are round, so, and I know you know that, but see, you get a little light, you get a little bit of shadow on the right sides. See like that?
Yeah, it makes a difference, yes.
Yeah. And then on the left side, it's more in light. You will get a little bit of a shadow underneath the eyelashes right there.
Right.
Maybe not that much.
Yeah, eyes are so difficult. Yeah.
There's a lot to know. There's a lot to know. darken there, darken the corners. Don't forget those. Probably redder over here. You get something dark in there. And then he had a pretty defining shadow right in there.
Yeah, what I did with the flesh is I built it up. I started very, very light. I didn't start the way you did. I started very light and then added and added and added.
Yeah,
I
you
find
can do that.
I find it so hard though when you put in like what you just did now with the dark brownish, you know, it looks so wrong.
Oh, no.
Do it, you know, it looks too drastic or something.
Yeah, but it's there if you look. I mean, he's got quite a big shadow up in here. So I would look for it. And it's quite different than the rest. And then the eye goes, so you probably get something in there.
Uh-huh.
And that probably all goes into shadow over there. But then what I do is I soften this edge
Right.
with a little bit of water, and that'll melt it
这个
into
颜
the
色就
rest.
画小了，
So you don't get this, so it's not so drastic.
而且还
You
要
know?
就好像
Yeah.
因为你这边
So
大眼角这边你画到头了，
I
实际上
enjoyed
它
that
没到
photo
没到
very
头，
much, by the way.
所以你
That
不能
was
露出一点点白的来，它
of the
上
two,
它
that was my
少了一点，
favorite.
黑
Yeah,
边是
he's
小了一
he's
点，
quite
然
striking.
后
Yeah.
你
Now,
懂了吗？它没到，
where you got
Yeah,
another one here,
photo.
woman's portrait.
It's but it's number
还有
two.
这个眼睛
再讲一遍，我没
Yeah.
听懂。
Oh, there's another one?
Yeah, go for Louise
这个
number
眼
two.
珠子
Woman
不
number
应该是
two.
圆
Oh,
圆
okay,
的，
there you
全被
are.
你全被
Yeah,
眼
yeah,
眶
yeah,
花了，
yeah.
它有一部在里面的，
我想
是
Hey
一个
guys,
大
can you
的
see my，
还有
little
这个
drawing in
你
the
看
background? Look
在
at
这个
that.
上面
Yeah, I know,
到
I was
里面一
wondering.
点，
I
不
mean, I
是
didn't even
封的，
notice,
不
but
是
I
在
mean,
中
it
间
kind
在
of looks like
悬
pop
着
art
的，
or something like that, right? But
Yeah.
位置不对。
well, I mean, see what the just those quick little marks will do. So interesting. I'll take that on there. Huh. Good for a laugh. Okay, yeah, this is not now. You again, just like a watercolor, you need just go hit yourself some darks.
Yes.
It's the same deal. As you can see, it's typical, very typical. You need to come back in here, hit that, come back in here. She gets really dark in here.
I
But
did
really-
that to start with. I did that, and it was so dark. But I guess it looks so pale right now.
It gets scary, huh, when you hit those. Yeah, I know. Believe me, when you're painting the cover of like a magazine and you're looking at a thing, you're going, oh boy. It's scary.
But it was dark when I did it at first. But it pales. I guess it pales when it dries.
Yep, it will.
Yeah.
And if you use a lot of water, it'll dry paler.
Mhm.
Yeah, the more water you use, the more paler it'll get. The more paler, the more pale it'll get. Sorry. Whatever. The more better. Okay.
I added so many layers. What you just did, I
Yeah.
did it again and again and again, and still it doesn't. It doesn't show.
Yep, even darker. Can you believe that? Well, that's okay because you can still go darker.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then what else? I was gonna say, use another wet brush over here just to smooth this edge off, just like on the man. Smooth the edge off as it goes into the light, so you don't have all these hard edges. By the way, that's what when I said it looked like pop art on that other thing. The reason it looked like pop art is because so often pop art mimics print techniques. They'll Roy Lichtenstein and whatever. So anyway, corners, hit those corners.
Okay.
I could hit them with a little more finesse than that, but that's the way to do it. And then a little shadow. And remember the right side.
Yeah, has the shadow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something. Yes, I'm noticing now. Yes.
and that dark around the pupil there.
Yeah, that's right.
And you got the darks around the outsides of the eyes. Yeah, the lighter the eye, the more you can see that dark ring around the outside of the eye.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else? Yeah, corners. Also, be aware of the white of the eye. Try to get the white of the eye shape right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to come back in with a little bit of white and trim off a couple edges here and there, I do that.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
sure. You certainly can use white on these.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I got all mixed up with the hair because I use quite a bit of sort of gray blue. And
Yeah.
then I saw some yellow, so I added yellow and it turned green. And in any case.
So she doesn't get really dark in the corners of her mouth, but there's a little dark there.
Uh-huh.
Make sure there's a little bit of a dark up in here. And what else? I think there's a little more ear back there, but you don't have to throw that in. You can just cover it with your hair.
Right.
What else?
And I don't particularly like my choice of colors for the shirt and the background.
I like it. It looks very feminine. I like that. I like it.
Oh, okay.
No problem with that. Yeah. One thing I would do though is cast a shadow over the
Oh,
front hair.
yeah.
Yeah, all this hair would be in shadow over there, and that she gets a little bit of light on her hair right there, and then it kind of, and then a little bit of shadow on the shirt
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
there too.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great. All right. There's my pop art again. Okay, we got Vindy. Yeah, see, if you put them together like that, yeah, I can see them really well.
Good.
Wow, nice work.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if we ever did portraits together when you were out here. Did you? Maybe once?
I've never taken a portrait class and I loved it. It's so much fun.
You got a talent for it, no question about it.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you were an art center grad, right?
Yeah. I didn't I didn't graduate. I went there, but I didn't graduate.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Shame on me.
I remember when I went there, lots of people left early.
Yeah.
Now I'm using this purple because I don't have. I mean, I could use black, but the problem is it's too dark.
Yeah.
Here I'll use brown. You know, a little bit of shadow on her chin itself.
Okay.
Yeah. Give it a little. See, we don't have any separation. Just a little bit.
Right
Little
there.
bit right in there.
Okay.
We got that, and we got this, and all that. And then I would group. Looks like this shadow, you know, all this. See, I'm doing it all in one big thing because it's all kind of grouped.
Well, you actually can do that. That's great.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Right around there, and right up the side of her head.
Right.
And I'll just group all that into one big wash.
And so I'm not doing it dark enough. Is
Yeah, lighter. You're too light.
too light. Okay.
Your drawing is great.
Thank you.
That's the thing you got to have. Once you have that, it's all about value now. And you know, everybody has a tough time with value in watercolor because it dries lighter. You know.
Yeah, that's the issue for me. It looks perfect, and then I'll wait, and it dries, and it's like, no, that's not perfect.
Yeah. The then there'd be a little bit of reflected light in here. There might be a little bit in there. Look for those planes that are catching a little reflected light. I mean, I think there's even some up in here or something like that. I don't know. But I would look for those. Lips look good. They're big, but they look good.
Yeah, they're too big, but they were fun.
I care about the structure and all that thing, and the fact that it doesn't look exactly like hers, it doesn't really matter as much to me.
It was her, but yeah.
Yeah. And then she gets really dark
Right,
in these areas.
right.
And it's a character thing. Part of her character's pretty dark eyelashes too, so I would probably hit those a little darker.
She has model eyes. She has great eyes.
Yeah, a lot of feeling in her eyes.
Yeah.
So let's see. A little bit darker. This is really dark, but a little darker on the outside there. Whoops.
Okay, gotcha. In the corners, yeah.
Yep, in the corners. Think of corners. See this area right here?
Yeah.
You want a nice dark in there. See now, these little lines you're putting in here, those are all wrong. No, I'm just joking. I'm just playing with you. Those are stylistic marks, and I love that kind of thing. Just go crazy with that kind of thing. I'm playing with you because everybody does that kind of thing differently.
Right.
And, it's when you put in those little calligraphic, linear sort of, they're just rhythmic strokes that tell the viewer the form. Those are you and your personality, and let them rip. Hair is a great place to let those rip.
Yeah. It was fun. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Well, great. Okay, now on him, same, with darks.
Yep.
Darks. I think this hollow spot in him was pretty dark.
Yeah.
Make it a nice. Whoops. Not that dark. Sorry. Wrong tool. But all of this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Pretty dark.
I'm not grouping stuff then. That's the problem I'm having.
Yeah. Group those shadows. I'm using way too big of a brush just to show you.
Yeah, but I like the way that it takes form that way. So.
Yeah. Just think about maybe put a little bit under the chin.
Right.
Maybe a little pocket in here. I don't have the photograph, but
yeah, I don't have it with me either. But
I have my.
Oh, you're painting.
Yeah, where's my painting? I threw a bunch of stuff over here. There he is. Gosh. All right. Yeah, I have quite a bit of. Yeah, and I went a little bit on the violet side in there. He gets a little bit in here too. So maybe I should use this red. I have a red burgundy color. Probably too light. It gets a little hollow in there.
Right. He was beautiful.
Yeah. Really interesting eyes and that gray hair on that colorful skin. Just
yeah.
Even the hair. Just remember, the hair will have shading to it as well. So I'll just.
So that's okay. Gotcha.
Most everything on this side, and then you might even get a little bit in there.
Right.
In a little bit, so we'll see.
The underside, yeah.
And then we need some darks.
To set
real
the eye.
dark in those eyes.
Okay.
Corners of the mouth too. Let me see. Yeah, corners. He has those very unusual corners to his mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of go like if I were to draw the lips, kind of go, and then the corners of his mouth, dink, like that.
Yeah.
But isn't it part of it that he has the mustache and so on?
I don't know. His lips just kind of, they have this really distinctive turn. I would look for right down there in the corners.